Yeah, you know what it is. 140 for the rebel, busy man shit, nigga. They turn their head over, nigga.
I read what Eve did to Adam. I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no hoe to lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Suckle up and stay alert. Another cop can stretch the nigga. He ain't demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that open blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers claim they spin, I ain't listening. Is in fact the fear. If revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jacob. So I war, we gonna run the summer. It's gonna be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. As who run this shit, but that question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young pay. How you real triggering on them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? What he saying something, I ain't hear him. This shit life. It ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the change. Bring shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never fight the hand and feet, so you'll never get that hand back. Bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody wanna be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. I'm a certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, out with that hollow side, yeah, this the real McCoy. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Yeah, 144 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man.
All jokes aside, you know how niggas be like, I'm this and that for life, this and that for life. I'm always for life, nigga, this a blow. Hey, yo, Madara, here go a class for you, my nigga. 140 for the rebel. The world turned its back on me. I'm a cripple. We got soldiers, he got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out, I tell you once. Don't pray for nothing, send a curse. We can't forgive what's forbidden. Remain in them trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. If rank is given, have your respect to your apprentice. Be about your business. This loyalty's a death sentence. Look, trying to pick up with a blind fit. They said there'll be many mansions. I'm just grinding for my time share. Them devils ain't playing fair. They hunt you like bad pal. But ain't no getting out the game like Jumanji. You take that oath, it's a Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and it's death to his partner. So how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't the like you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people go this zone. And the new one said they hate you for.
Yeah. Shalom Israel, Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Yahweh, Shalom Shabbat to all the brothers, Shalom Shemar Elatah by Shemar Shai to all the sisters. Today is the ISUPK Sabbath service coming out of Arizona, right? The police officer 50 Razan holding them down. Sabbath service today. Today we're gonna be getting into the Garden of Eden today. We're gonna break that down, right? And show you how and why why all your church that you've gone to all your life is wrong, right? And their breakdown of Garden of Eden. All right, you know what I'm saying? We're definitely going to show, that Adam's not the first man, right? We're going to break down the serpent, you know what I'm saying, the beasts of the fields, you know what I'm saying, the trees. I'm saying we got pretty much a good enough amount of information to go over today about the Garden of Eden. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying, definitely one that you want to put in your notes. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Christian, might want to take this class to your pastor. You know what I'm saying? And ask the questions that you find here. Take notes. Go to your pastor and be like, hey, is he wrong? Is he right? Ask him to break it down and see watch his head spin. He trying to figure out a lie to tell you about how I'm wrong.
Right.
But I'm not wrong. Your pastor don't know the Bible. That's all there is to it. That's what you gotta understand and know, that your pastor don't know the Bible. Want the truth, you come here to the ISUPK to get the truth. That what? Good. Where is it? All right, so that, we starting on late, so slack on that, but we'll drop right into it. Start with the prayers, right? So Amaju needs to stand. Point Hakadun needs to turn face to east. So we'll get into it, right? Starting with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayah, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwathka, Taba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayah, Thalanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Basalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawatnawa, Wala, Tabayanawa, Wanasaya one, Abal, Hoshinawa, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Wa'ala, Wata Para, Laiwayan, Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So be it. I got the Hakat, the power in Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Baba Kasha. Thalanaw. Hakat. Rapa'ah. It's like Hakat. Rapa'ah. Call. Makala. Wakal. Madawa. Hakat. Latahar. Matazariah. Hakat. Lakoyam. Hamathium. Hakat. Arakarwa. Hatama'ala. Lagar Shun. Ba'ashem Yahushua. Dawada Aman. All right, in English, Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it. Right. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Aharyam, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayim, Wa'rataza, Ayathan, Amawat, Ragalka, Ayanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yayashan, Shoamar, Yasharala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazaka, Ayat, Yundika, Yoamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Kakaka, Wayarak, Walayla, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makal Rai, Yashamar, Athnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Tazaathka, Baba Akib, Maitha, Wa'ai, I will learn. 1 second. All right, so Psalms 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help coming from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yasharallah, neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. Sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth, even forevermore. All right. We got Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. All. Dami Alakah. All Thakarash. All Thashakwat. All. Kayahana. Al Yabika. Yahma. Yawan. Ra'ash. Al Aimaka. Yara Yamwa. Sawada. Wayata. Yaitazawa. Al Tazapawanyaka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Munakak Yadam. Magalia. Wala'ah. Yazakar. Shom Yashala. Iwada. Kaya. Na'itazawa. Laba. Lakatwa. Ayaka. Barya. Lakarathwa. Alahaya. It's like a Ahaya. Adawam. Waishma Alia. Mawa'aba. Wagarium. Gabal. Baimawan. Baimalat. Palashat. Ayashavya. Tazawar. Gama Shawar. Nalawa. Imam. Hayawa. Zarawa. Nabanya Lawat. Salah. Ashalaham. Kamayan. Kasaya. Sarah. Kayabyan. Banakar. Koyashwan. Nashmatwood. Bayan. Dara. Da'ara. Hayawa. Daman. La'adama. Sayatamwa. Nada. Yamatwa. It's like a Yamawa. Kairab. Ashar. Amarwa. Nairasha. Nanawa. Na'awa. Alahaya. Alahaya. Shayatamwa. Kagagala. Kakwash. Napunya Raka. Ka'ash. Taba'ira. Ya'ira. Bakalaba. Talahat. Haharyam. It's like a Haryam. Khan. Thoradotma. Basa'iraka. Mabasa. It's like Mapatha. Tabahalam. Mala'ah. Panyaham. Palawan. Waya. Bakashwa. Shimka. Yahweh. Yabashwa. Waya. Baharwa. Ajai. Waya. Kaparwa. Waya. Abatwa. Waya. Da'aiwa. Kaya. Ada. Shimka. Yahweh. Nabatka. Ayawan. Alkar. Ha'aratazah. Psalms 18 in English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
Be not still, O God.
Be not still, O God.
And be not still, O God.
For lo,
Thy
enemies make a tumble.
Thy enemies make a tumble.
They that hate thee
And they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They take crafty counsel against thy. They have said, come, let us cut them off and be their nation.
Let us cut them off and be a nation.
The name of Yasharallah,
The name of Yahshua.
they be no more remembered,
They be no more remembered.
but they consulted together with one consent.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They're confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
Tabernacles of Edom,
Tabernacle of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre,
kindness of Tyree.
So also are joined with them.
So also join with
Their hope in the children of Lot.
that hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites. Act to Sisera. Act to Jabin. At the brook of Kisan, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Made their nose like a reb, and like Zeeb, yea, or the princess of Sabbath,
All their princesses of Lot.
and as Zamuna,
And Zamuna
who said,
said,
let's take to ourselves
let's take to ourselves
the houses of God
the house of God
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God.
make them like a wheel,
Make them like a wheel.
as the stubble before the wind,
As the stubble before the wind.
as the fire burneth the wood,
Fire and
as
wood.
the flames set the mountains on fire.
The flame set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy temper.
make them afraid with thy storm.
Make them afraid with thy storm.
Fear their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame.
they may seek thy name.
They may see thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be confounded and troubled forever.
let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame and perish,
Let them be put to shame and perish.
that they may know that thou,
And they may know that thou,
whose name alone
his name alone,
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high of all the earth.
art the most high of all the earth.
All right. The blessings in Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barak atah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Yahweh Shai.
Why Micah Allah.
why God,
Why Allahayim.
why
But the Zab Yah.
Zabiyah,
Allah Wap Yahana.
Allah Wapiyah,
Ha Allah Wapya.
Allah
Ha Saranya.
Wapiyah,
Bakata Zayayim.
Allah
Hakal Yayim.
Wapiyah,
Wak Wathim.
Wapiyah,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Hashem,
The water of man.
Yahweh.
All right. In the English. Bless you Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh,
And Yahweh Shai.
and Yahweh,
And Michael.
and Michael,
And the angels.
and the angels,
Commanding during Yohana.
commanding your Yohana,
The generals.
general,
The captains.
captain,
The officers.
the officers,
The troopers.
troopers,
And the sisters.
and the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Your name Yahweh Shai.
and Yahweh Shai.
Thank you. So be it.
Thank you, so be it.
Sorry why you shut me. You can turn and be seated.
Just I know I'll be your second today. All right.
I brought you guys tacos, chicken tacos.
Oh, most of the
It's soft tacos, cheese, the guacamole, the chicken. Everything is over there ready.
Ah,
You
Water,
grab
sis.
some, you go ahead. All right.
I'm burning up this one.
Just let me up real quick.
I got this one.
Yeah, you good. No, you good. I'm just going to stay my verse. Barak ban Yahweh to ban Yashala.
Rock, but Yahweh, by Yahweh,
Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barakatah.
Yahweh Shem Shem Rakatah.
All right. Do it. Yeah, no, we good.
All right, so like I stated earlier, today we are going to be getting into into the Garden of Eden, right? And the reason we got to explain the kind of the importance, right, of the Garden of Eden, right? This is our what the world say our part of our creation story, as it were, right?
Right.
As people would say back, as the people in the world would say. There's also the beginning, right, of our history, of our ancestry, right, dating back to Adam, right. This is why this is important. Now, other people were around during the time of Adam, but only Adam is important in this narrative, right?
Right.
Because he's our ancestor. He's the world's ancestor, but you run down the line. We are the line that was chosen to come out of Adam, right? You know what I'm saying? And like, don't get, like I said, the whole world was
Get my backpack from the back seat.
the whole world came out of Adam, but in the Apocrypha in second Esdras, it said even though the whole world came out of Adam, but so with the chosen people,
Right.
which is us. And this is why this story is important to us. You know what I'm saying? Getting it out there, make sure it's told rightly. You know what I'm saying? Giving the correct breakdown on the on the Garden of Eden, what actually happened, and not only that, but giving to you what everything means in here.
Yeah, and you know that the extra heavy part about what we're about to break down is like these things. We know the scriptures say this in the book of Amos that the secrets of the mysteries of the Most High are revealed to His servants, the prophets. Okay, that's why your Christian church doesn't have the understanding. That's why they believe that Eve ate an apple. That's why they believe that God performed. I've even heard Christians and Christian Israelites say that when the Most High took a rib from Adam and created his wife, that was the first surgery ever. Like that's the way they look at it. So they mean literally that they, you know, that the Most High grabbed the rib out of Adam and formed a woman out of it, literally, right? They
Gotcha.
believe that Adam literally is like dust that was molded into a human being. That's because they just, you know, don't understand the Bible, and
Gotcha.
that's because once again, the mysteries of this Bible are revealed to His servants, the prophets. Go ahead, Ox.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Just need the
and,
Bible out of
what's
there.
crazy about
Send
that too,
to the
I've heard people say as well that that's why men have one less rib than women.
Bible. It's deep down in there. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Hey, and then they got a man has an Adam's apple because he choked on the apple when he ate it. Y'all ever heard of that?
Gotcha.
You never heard of that? Yeah, they say that Eve ate an apple and then gave the apple to her husband, and then he ate it and choked on. Yep, he ate it and choked on it, and that's why men have an Adam's apple. You know, and so the true breakdown of this creation story is the water. The true breakdown of this creation story takes away the spookiness from out of all of this.
Right. That's what we're here to dispel too, the spookiness that everybody has. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think it's in 1 Corinthians, like our job, you know, as priests is to cast out imaginations. Cast down imaginations, you know what I'm saying? Right. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? That's our job. You know, we're to cast out, you know, these imaginations that comes with, you know, the improper breakdowns of the Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Just give me a second. I got you though. Give me like 5 minutes.
Yeah, but with that, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into it. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be at right. It's gonna be Genesis chapter 2. Right, we're gonna start there. Of course, now you know these as I class go. You know, we read it in Hebrew first, and then we're gonna come back through it in the English, right? So it's gonna be at Genesis chapter 2.
I'll read the Hebrew. All right. What you want to read? The first 7?
Constantly, the first 7.
All right, let's go. Give me 1 second. So after I read this, you know, I'll figure that out. All right, the book of Genesis, chapter 2, beginning with verse 1. We're going to read 7 verses in the Hebrew, then read the same 7 verses in the English and break it down. Verse 1. Waya kala, what's like the way I call wa, Hashamyum, wa rataza, wa ha-rataza, wa call, Tazabam, verse 2. Waya call, Alahayim, Bayawam, Hashab Ya'ayah, Malak Akathwa, Ashar, Aisha, Waya Shabbath, Bayawam, Hashab Ya'ayah, Bakal, Malak Akthwa, Ashar, Aisha, verse 3. Waya Barak, Alahayim, Af, Yawam, Hashab Ya'ayah, Waya Kodash, Athwa, Kaya, Bawa, Shabbath, Makal, Mala'ak, it's like a Ma'aktawa, Ashar, Bara, Alahayim, La'ishawath, verse 4, Alha, Tawa, it's like it. Tawaladwath, Hashamyum, Waharataza, Wahabar Aham, it's like it. Babar Aham, Bayawam, Aishawath, Yahweh, Alahayim, Arataza, Washam Yum, verse 5, Wakal, Shayach, Hashada, Taram, Yahaya, Ba'arataza, Wakal, Aishab, Hashada, Taram, Yatazama, Kaya, La'a, Hamata Yar, Yahweh, Alahayim, Al, Ha'arataza, Wadam, Ayan, Laibar, it's like a Laibad, Ath, Ha'adama, verse 6, Wahad, Ya'ila, Man, Rataza, Wahashaquak, it's like Wahashaqua, Ath, Call, Fanya, Hadama, verse 7, Waya Yatazar, Yahweh, Alahayim, Ath, Ha Adam, Ipar, Man, Ha Adama, Wayapak, Ba'apaya, Wapayawa, Nashamath, Hayayam, Wayahaya, Ha Adam, Lanapaj, Haya. Those are verse 7 verses of Genesis chapter 2. Read those same 7 verses in English.
Con.
Break it down. I'm gonna stay away for just a second.
All right, so yeah, so real quick, saying right before we, right before we do read these first 7 verses in English, right? We'll take it right back a little bit to the first chapter, just to get the creation of man, right? And in the 7th day. That way, we do everything in the order which it came. Just give it a little bit more context. So you're gonna go back to Genesis chapter 1. Right, we're gonna start at verse 26. Yeah, we are, but we're gonna go to just back a little bit, just to get some more context. For Constance. No problem. It's it. So Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, and it reads, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Right. So this is, the creation of man, right? At this point, Most High gave the order to make man in his likeness, in his image. So the likeness, right, is the ability to take orders, and the ability to take and receive orders, right? And after the image, not the image as in make him look like directly like God, right? The image is reputation. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard the phrase like, I don't want to do that. That might hurt my image. People say that because it's going to hurt your reputation if you do something, if you're associated with somebody, right? I'm saying that same phrase is used in the Bible too. That's what that phrase means. It's talking about his reputation, basically. Right? And then continuing, let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And so God gave dominion of the earth to man. So that way, you can go and eat what you want to eat, go out there and eat the fish, the plants, the birds. Saying, go take over the planet. That was the commandment given to man. Right? And then verse 27, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him, male and female created he them. This is important, right? Because now we're seeing that we don't know this during the 6th day. Now we're seeing that God in this chapter, right? In this verse, he creates male and female. Right? I want to while I'm on it, break down the dumbness that people say that Most High has to have a wife, because how could he make a woman without a woman being present? But this is the Most High. You tell me the Most High don't know how to can't create whatever he wants to create. He needs somebody else to help him. To give him the blueprint. He created the blueprint. So he didn't need somebody else by his side. It's like, show me any verse in the Bible where you see anybody, a woman sitting next to the Most High. It doesn't happen. The Most High was the being that was first here and always will be. Right? He has no beginning, no end. But the Most High is just that. The Most High. He's not a man like you and me. He's a spirit. Right? So whatever he says goes. Not only that, but are you telling me that the Most High is not smart enough to be able to create the thing that goes with one to the other? It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? You know, the peanut butter and jelly go together. Do I need somebody who loves jelly to tell me that I should put jelly on my peanut butter jelly sandwich? That's probably not a good analogy, but you know what I'm saying, just to say that, you know what I'm saying, the Most High don't need nobody else there, right? He's plenty smart enough, you know, to create human beings the way he wanted us to be created, to create all animals. You know what I'm saying? All right, so with that logic, you know what I'm saying, does need to be like a deer god, a male and female deer god, you know, for all the deer to be able to procreate properly. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people come up with just a lot of silliness. A lot of that comes too from women who are feminists, right? Because they have to find a way to be right. Because the guys and men, that means they have to give their power to, they have to give submit to a man. That's what a lot of women don't want. They don't want to submit to a man, right? And so they said to come up with ways to make God fallible, right? But Most High is infallible, as we know. I want to get rid of that. But this right here, this dispels the myth that Adam was the first created human being. He was not. At this time, there was a boom of men created, just like there was a boom of animals on like cattle and deer, insects, and fish and birds. Just like there was just like a sudden sprout of them, there's a sudden sprout of people. And so this is what the male and female created he, them, right? This is what that means.
And this is before you get Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve don't come into the second chapter. So this is before you get Adam and Eve, which already dispels the lie that, you know, that Adam and Eve were the first created humans.
Right, you know what I'm saying? We'll get to right in a second. People also say that, oh no, the Adam and Eve story takes place during the sixth day. I've heard that too. But once again, you ask them to prove it, they really can't. Right, so continuing on, verse 28, and God blessed them and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Once again, the Most High, you know, telling man, they're saying multiply, have lots of kids. Like he said, have lots of kids and go take over the earth. And so that's what people did. They would take over the earth. They ate whatever animal they wanted to eat, whatever fish, bug, insect, whatever they wanted to do. Right? Remember at this point, there is no laws given. Right? There is no dietary law. Right? So people are just eating whatever they catch. Because people, this we could say is probably more like the most barbaric time. Right? This is early men. Right? It wasn't to Adam Adam was given the breath of life that would get the dietary laws, what's clean and unclean. Right? Now that's what you get all that from. But at this point, nobody knows that they're just doing what they were told to do. Right? Verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree that is which is like, and start over. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you shall it be for meat. So vegetarians go here too to say, see, we're supposed to be vegetarians. But all this saying that, you know, along with the meat that you can eat, there's plants that you can eat for food too. You know what I'm saying? You got, you know what I'm saying, not when you look at your plants, you got, you know, well, like your cilantro, you know, your grapes, your strawberries, you know what I'm saying, your figs, you know what I'm saying? There's other things that you can use for consumption, other than just the animals. This all this is saying that, you know, he's giving them, you know, then plants that they can also eat as well. You know, especially if it has seeds. Not everything is good for you, of course. He's saying, no, this is, you know, along with the animals, it's also giving you these plants to also that you can eat. Right, verse 30. and to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that keepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. It was so. Verse 31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. In the evening, in the morning, were the sixth day. Right? So all that we just read was the sixth day. Right? So the creation of man, him giving instruction to man, telling them that, hey, take dominion, create babies, make more of you. Right? You know what I'm saying? And of course, this is what here's the animals, you have dominion over them. And here's some, you also eat these certain plants too. Right? Because now remember, not every plant you can eat. Right? Some plants, are for medicinal uses as well, right? So this is where you got to be careful. People.
Some plants will just kill you.
Some plants
try eating poison ivy. Die.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I know what you're about to break
down. Yeah, and not only that, but you know what I'm saying, weed is a medicinal plant. You know what I'm saying? It's not meant for you to smoke. You know what I'm saying? There's chemicals in it that can definitely heal you. It'll heal your wounds. You know what I'm saying? It definitely the chemicals in there help relax you, but it's not meant for you to break down the leaves, roll it up, and then smoke it. That's not what that is for. You know what I'm saying? I know my cousin, you know what I'm saying, when he was alive, you know what I'm saying, he tried to tell me that same thing. He's like, see, every tree, every herb, right? Right? See, weed is a herb, cuzzo, so we can smoke this. I was like, whatever you say. Of course, I was in the world. I know no better. I didn't really believe him, but I was like, man, that's how you see it. I guess that's how you see it. I was also of the mind that however you interpret it is how you interpret it. There's no wrong or right. There's no right or wrong way. But of course, when you're young, you don't know too much about the Bible. Anything anybody say to you can be considered true. Which is why you have to really vet people that say that they know the Bible. Really break them down, ask them questions. You know what I'm saying? And you got to catch them in lies and slip ups. You know what I'm saying? None of that, but you're talking to somebody smart, right? Somebody says, well, you know what? That one I may not read that in a while. Let me get somebody who might, let me ask somebody above me who more knowledgeable on that, and I ask and I get back to you. That right there shows you a man of integrity and of who's smart. Because smart people don't just yell whatever facts to you. They don't know. Somebody who's smart is going to go get the correct information instead of telling you anything that's false. The Christian, Christians will tell you anything. You know what I'm saying? You can read script out the Bible, and they be like, well, I don't really believe that. You know what I'm saying? You can tell them, the Most High, Christ said for the Most High said you have to be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Well, brother, y'all are trying to teach perfectism. You can't be perfect. Christ said, you can. Are you telling me Christ is wrong? You know what I'm saying? It's simple like that because some people just don't want to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a mindset that you can have. You have to be willing to be corrected. A lot of Christians don't like to be corrected. They like to what they said was correct. You know what I'm saying? It takes a person of great integrity and of intelligence to say, I slept up on that part, or here's the correct information. You know what I'm saying? And it happens. You know what I'm saying? We're people. You might slip up, you might miss something. You might have thought said something, but you go back and look at it, really says this. That's what the people don't understand, right? And that's what I'm getting to right here. On the sixth day, we seen that the people were created, right? So there's people on the earth. So it's not possible for Adam to be the first man, right? Because now we see that there are people on the earth, right? So we get into chapter 2 right now in the first verse. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished in all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So now we get to the seventh day, and the Most High, he rested. right? So there was a 6th day, and that was the 7th day, right? So the Most High, he rested on that day, which means what? Once again, there's nowhere in there saying that, you know, saying that this takes place during the 6th day, right? There's no indication of that. Verse 3, and God blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Right. So this is where we are. This is why we're here today. The Sabbath service, right? Sabbath means rest. If you didn't know, that's the Hebrew. That's what it means in Hebrew. It means rest, because this is the day that the Most High rested. Now he said the Most High sanctified it, right? So I'm saying every Sabbath is a high holy day, which we know too as you read in the book of Leviticus, right? And it gives a breakdown for all the high holy days. Every Sabbath is a high holy day. It's like it. Right? So this is why it's not Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Most High never changed it to Sunday. And we know that Most High doesn't change. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to church, you're saying that church is a day because it was changed. You have to show me in the Bible where it was changed at. I mean, I haven't seen it, but it's not there because Christians want to worship a sun god. Yes, Christian.
The Christian church, they have everything basically opposite. The last day of the week, 7th day, they got it the first day.
Huh? Yeah.
They say Jesus is white, but he's black.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the 7. You put it like that, you know what I'm saying? They do put everything backwards. You know what I'm saying? These are, you know what
We
I'm
got
saying?
plates and forks and stuff now, so you can go get some if you want.
So your breakdown is completely right. You know what I'm saying? They do everything backwards. These are people that come out crooked. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They come out as strange. You know what I'm saying? Their whole thing is to be against the Most High.
Right.
So whatever we do, they'll make sure to do the exact opposite. Listen, they really are the ops.
No, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's part of why, once again, this breakdown that we're going to get into is so important, because it's going to show us how, like the scriptures say, like Paul said this, right, in one of his letters. He said, who changed the truth into a lie? These are records that we've kept. These have been preserved. This is about what we're talking about. It's about 6,000 years ago. You understand that this happened. And these are records that were delivered unto Moses. Specifically, these are records that were delivered unto Moses. And, you know, he had a scribe, or, you know, some people have discrepancies about that. But these are the records that the Most High gave to Moses to give to us. You understand? And so when we read this, it's clear as day what's happening. But the problem is that, you know, when people that are not Israelites, like, for instance, like white people, try to break down the script. Like, imagine the first time a white person ever heard somebody say, hey, come to my crib. Like, imagine that. Like, they was probably like, what the hell is he talking about? You know what I'm saying? Hop in the whip. What are you talking about? Hop in the whip. I'm supposed to be whipping you, nigga. You understand? You don't know what the hell you talking about. The first time a white man said, hey, look at my new wheels. What do you mean wheels? There's a car with those wheels. What are you talking about? You mean your new car? You understand? Because they don't understand the way that Israelites work. We're the ones that have this flavor. And that's why when you hear, that's my rib, we're not talking about that's my rib here. You understand? That's my rib, meaning my family. We're about to break all of that down. Let's keep reading. Let's get into Genesis 2. You can pick up where you left off.
Concept. Yeah, I was okay. Genesis 2 and this verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens.
Right. And so now all we got to understand from this is a chronological thing. I understand the chapter numbers were added later, but this is all a chronological order. We got a breakdown of the first 6 days as well. We're kind of talking about the 7th day right now. But the first 6 days, we see that the Most High created the moon, the stars, the sun, the earth, the heavens, all of that, the plants, right, the animals, all of those things, and human beings, men and women. Male and female were they created on the what? 6th day. Now we're in the 7th day. That's why we're just talking about the Shabbat, right? 7th day, which is the Sabbath. This is after male and female and all the animals have ever been created. This is what we're talking about now.
Right, and there's it also put too, like saying, you gotta understand the thing of the Bible. Like you say, like this is one day. No, that no time for the Most High don't pass like it does for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a quote that says like a day to the Lord as 1,000 years.
Right. It's in the book of Peter.
Right, in the book of Peter. Now that's not an accurate saying that, of course, every day is 1,000 years. That's just it's really saying that it's a long time frame.
Yeah, like the Most High. What Peter was trying to say there? Not what he was trying to say. What he was saying, what he was conveying, is that time doesn't work the same way for the Most High as it does for us. You understand? So like a day to us, really 1,000 days to us is 1 day to the Most High, because the Most High doesn't look at time the way that we do. He doesn't work off a 24-hour clock. You understand? Right. And so that's the way that the Most High sees things. Of course, we know that I hate using this word because Muslims use it, but the term is accurate. He is an omnipotent God. Like you have to be able to. You can't even wrap your mind around what that means. You understand? He's in everything, of everything. You understand? Like it's hard to even understand that, right?
You gotta imagine the Most High. He just is. You know what I'm saying? He's before everything.
Right. He's self-existent. That's the way I like to break it down.
Yeah, self-existent.
Self-existent.
We gotta understand, like, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't mold himself to the same time frame that we should. You know how people say there's like I hate to use it, but like kind of accurate, like he sits outside of our version of time and space, right? Like this, like where his heaven is at, where his throne he sits at, it's just outside of what we would say time is, right? But he sees it all. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? It's not trying to make it spooky, like it's not saying like you're trying to get away people from the spookism, right? But just know that the Most High, like he sees things differently. You don't like it says, he don't see the same as you and me. We don't have the same eyes he has. It's the same knowledge that he has, the same thoughts he has.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And right here, like I said, going into that, like at 7 days, like he all this breaking down that fourth verse is that it was just saying that this is the time frame that things were created.
Right. Let's read verse 7. Skip down to verse 7 so we can kind of, because this is part of what we got to understand about this being the seventh day and Adam being created and all of that. Let's read verse 7. Okay.
The Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. The Lord God formed men of the dust of the ground.
He formed man of the dust. Now remember, we already read that in the first chapter on the 6th day that the Most High created male and female, created he them, right? We saw that. But now in the 2nd chapter, in this timeline, we're on the 7th day. The Most High formed man of the dust of the ground. Let's first understand what that is. The dust of the ground. Isaiah 52 and 2. Real quick. Let's get Isaiah 52 and 2. Because there's a reason why the Most High is giving, like that's this narrative. There's a reason why it's said this way. It's terminology that is used throughout the entire Bible that only a real Israelite can understand. White people don't understand what a crib is, just like they don't understand what this dust is. You know what a white person is going to tell you? Well, he was formed from the dust, like meaning mud. Like some people will get deep into it and say, well, clay. Some of these fake, Israelites and these fake, these Christians or whatever, they'll say, huh?
I was gonna say those do metaphysics and
all of that. And what they'll use is they'll say, well, it's like a clay, and that proves that the original man was black because what color is the dirt? All of that garbage. When really this isn't even what that's your slave master taught you, that this man was formed of actual dust. We're gonna find out what this dust actually is. Isaiah 52 and 2.
Come on. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 2. Shake thyself from the dust.
Shake thyself from what?
The dust.
The dust. Now, this isn't talking about literal dust. You know why? Keep going.
Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem.
O Jerusalem. So what's the dust? Keep reading.
Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck.
The bands of thy neck. Captivity. Now, this isn't talking about the fact that Adam was in captivity, but his mind was in captivity because he wasn't following the Most High's orders. Not necessarily his orders, but he wasn't in the order that the Most High wanted him to be in. That's why we call this the first man, because this was the first man after the Most High's heart that he gave his orders to. Let's go back to Genesis, the 2nd chapter, and we'll read what that's talking about.
Okay.
So go ahead, sis.
So the man is at Jerusalem? I'm lost.
Okay, I'm sorry, sis. I might have went too fast on that. So it says, Isaiah 52 and 2 says, shake thyself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. That's not talking about the place Jerusalem. It's talking about who?
Us, right?
Israel, right?
Okay.
So the Most High is telling us to shake ourselves from the dust. What is that talking about?
From the dust. Shake ourselves from the dust.
Give a sister a chance. You ever heard of the, I hate using this, but I also love it at the same time. You ever heard of somebody saying, I got it out the mud? You might not have heard that. That's, like, I don't know if you listen to rap like that.
Shake the dust, like don't.
I just to simplify it, coming out of a low estate, right? That's what shaking yourself for the dust is. Okay, have you ever heard of this? Get that dirt off your shoulder? You heard of that, right? What's that talking about? Get right. You understand? You jammed up. Get that dirt off your shoulder. Wipe, You understand? And that's what the Most High is talking about. The Most High is telling us to rise out of our low estate. Black people in America are in what? A low estate. We're the bottom of the barrel. You understand?
The dust.
We're in the dust. When somebody say get it out the mud, they're saying I came from a low place. I got it out of the mud. Now I'm clean. I got the fresh Nike Air Ones, the white ones. You understand?
I ain't wearing the black forces no more.
No, I ain't wearing the dusty black forces no more. I ain't got the hand-me-down clothes. I ain't got none of that. Now I got, I'm up. I'm better now. And that's what getting out of the dust is. So now, man was already created, but the Most High formed Adam out of the dust because man was at a low state. Adam was the first man that the Most High brought out of that low state. And in the second part of this verse 7 in chapter 2 of Genesis, we're going to see how. So,
I think book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. And God formed the man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
So now he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. In this specific instance, is not talking about like actual breath in his lungs. Let me get the book of Baruch real quick. Throw this in there. I might be going too far. Might be jammed up. Baruch, it's the second chapter, the first verse. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I don't know why I can't get to it. Let's get Baruch, the second chapter, and the first verse. That'll explain what the breath of life is. All right? Go ahead. You can get it.
Yeah, constant. This is the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore, the Lord hath made good his word.
That might not be what I want. Let me see real quick. It might be Baruch. It's in Baruch. I know that. Let me get Baruch. Might be one of them. Okay, so like it 4 and 1. Forgive me, bro.
It's the book of Baruch in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 1. This is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever.
And this Bible, this compilation of books that the Most High inspired men to write about the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, and His desire for us as Israelites, this book is the book of God, the commandments of God and of the law that endureth forever, right? This is something that, once again, we pull this when Christians say, well, the Most High did away with the law. Well, He couldn't have. We're reading in the inspired book of the Most High, in the book of Baruch, these commandments last forever, right? We keep going.
Okay. All they that keep it shall come to life. But such as leave it shall die.
So what is the breath of life? The breath of life is the instructions and the commandments that the Most High gave to Adam. The Most High lifted him up, picked him, cleaned him up. You get a brother off of the streets and you clean him up, get him in some fresh clothes. Make sure the brother got some food. He not skin and bones no more. He got some food in his belly. He got better clothes to wear. He not smelling like, he ain't took a shower in 3 weeks. You understand? And you get the brother right, you raise him from the dust, and then you teach him the commandments of God. And that's what we do. Ain't Officer Apayak's name? What does his name mean?
Give breath.
I breathe life into you. You understand? And that's what we do. The Most High put this spirit on us in here because we also can do the same thing the Most High did here. The same way the Most High raised up Adam, got him off of, now this is just a metaphor, right? Got him off of the streets, cleaned him up, made sure he had food in his belly, and then taught him how to keep the commandments of God. It's the same thing we do to brothers in here every day. You understand?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's it's like that's what I was saying earlier. You know what I'm saying? With the on the 6th day, Most High just gave men the commandments to take dominion over the earth. Right. Now it wasn't until the 7th day, right, that the Most High chooses Adam. Now remember, he chose Adam. He could have picked anybody,
Right.
but he chose Adam to give him the breath of life, to give him the instructions of what the Most High wants done.
Right.
How he wants him to live. Different, like notice he didn't give everybody the breath of life.
Right.
Yeah, he chose only one person to get the breath of life too.
And we'll find out that the same spirit. Now, it gets a little deep, so y'all just kind of gotta follow, and just retain the information as best you can. But
So I
even
should be
the
taking notes.
right, even the spirit of the Assyrians, the scriptures say, and we'll read that in just a second. The Assyrians were in the Garden of Eden. Now, of course, they're not the Assyrians that we know today. You understand? Because every nation was cut off besides Adam and his lineage down into Noah. You understand? So, like I said, that's something we can get into another time and get a full breakdown of that in depth. But y'all got to understand, there was other nations that were around, which is who Adam was being influenced by. Same thing that happens to us in America right now. We're not like black culture today isn't really black culture. Like killing each other and all of that, that's not black culture. That's really the Irish and the Jewish people that came down here and started these gangs. General Muhammad was talking about that last night in his class. You understand about how these people came and they were poor just like how we are, and they started these gangs. That's where the police come from, is the Irish mob.
Constant.
And so, but that's what my point is that's not black culture.
No.
We're being influenced by other people's culture, which is why you have 53rd versus 54th or whatever that is in Chicago over on O Block. Brothers just killing each other for no goddamn reason at all. That's not our culture. And so that's what Adam was going through. That's why the Most High took him away from the other nation's culture and gave him he was the first person to be given the culture and the commandments of God. So like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say too. That's why being around. This is the Most High. He does that on purpose. I'm saying leaves us around these other cultures. It's a test. Are you going to follow them? Or are you going to follow the Most High?
Right.
I saying it's in the was it Judges? I think that the quote is when the Most High says, he left the other nations around us.
Yeah.
We got some
It
Judges.
might be in Judges.
And so we get in a little bit, but that's something that the Most High does, right? And Adam, he was told, giving his breath of life, this is what you should do. Right? Giving to everybody. Everybody wasn't given this. Let's say Most High was always chosen one group of people. Oh, he always chooses one. I said that's how it operates. I said he picked his favorite.
Right.
And saying people saying that the Most High can't have a favorite. I don't see why not.
Right. Right.
I'm saying if you make a story, like which I've done research and looked up people who write stories, things like that. They always have like a favorite character, like a favorite group of people that they created for their story. So tell me, you can do that, but the Most High can't.
Right. Another thing about that, before we move on, is you got to think about it. You telling me the Most High doesn't have a favorite? That means that he loves what? The rapist just as much as he loves the one that serves him. He loves the child molester. He has to love the child molester the same. Like that's the equality that you want.
Right.
You want the Most High to be an unjust God is what you want. Like a just God is just like any father that has children. He has a favorite child. It's just the truth. Because there's one that listens better. There's one that has a better spirit. It just always happens that way. And it's the same way the Most High moves. You understand? He's not going to love the son that's a gangbanger the same way he's going to love the son that he told to stay off the streets and he actually listened. And that's the same way that the Most High is with Israel. The difference between us and the Most High is the Most High has much more mercy than us because we are the son that he chose and we still went out and did the gangbanging. We still went out and committed all of these murders and these crimes. You understand? So, but this is once again, a lot of times because of the influence of the other nations. Let's read this. Let's drop down to verse 16 in Genesis 2.
Hang on. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 16. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest eat. Thou mayest freely eat.
So now this is talking about after the Most High. We saw how he gave Adam the commandment, right? That breath of life was the instruction. We understand that. In between that time and here, course, his rib was created. We really could talk about that, but we're just kind of short on time. His rib was given to him out of his family, right? Out of like how I would call you my sister. Well, my wife is my sister too, and that's not my blood sister, but she's my family because we're of the same people. You understand?
Right.
That's what happened. That's what the rib is, right? And so now Adam was given a wife whose name was Eve, in between the time that we just talked about it now. And now the Most High is giving him more instructions, telling him every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Now let's keep reading, and I'm gonna let y'all know what it's talking about.
Go on. Verse 17. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it.
So there's one tree. Now he can eat of any one of these trees, but there's one tree that he says thou what?
Thou shalt not eat of it.
Thou shalt not, and that's of course we see this in the commandments, right? In the first 5 books of the Bible, we get a lot of thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Well, this is another commandment that the Most High gave to Adam and told him, don't eat of that tree. Go ahead.
For the day thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is not talking about food. It's not talking about an orange tree that you can come and pick off that orange, and you can eat that tree. You can eat the apples. You understand? But that lemon tree, don't eat that. Don't eat off of that lemon tree. That's not what this is talking about, right?
Or people also say that this is a. If they don't say that, they'll say, "Oh, this is a metaphysical tree. Like this is an actual tree that if you ate of it, gives you, it gives you the knowledge that the Most High don't want you to have."
Yeah. You know, if there was a tree that made me smart, if there was a fruit that I could eat that made me smart, I'd be eating the hell out of them fruits. You understand? I'd grow one of them. I'd take the seed out of that mug and just plant it and get rich off of it. Make everybody smart. All my kids would just be getting straight A's. They already are, but you know. But point being is that's what I would do. You understand? But that's not what this is talking about. And what's the knowledge of good and evil? If you could hold for me Ezekiel the 31st chapter. Right? What's the knowledge of good and evil? Why is it that the Most High doesn't want them to eat from this tree that will teach them the knowledge of good and evil? 31, Ezekiel 31. Right? There are certain things that we can learn from the other nation. I'm gonna spoil this whole thing. The trees are the nations, other nations that are around about us. And I'm gonna prove that in Ezekiel the 31st chapter. What the Most High is telling Adam, there's certain things that you can learn from the other nations. Absolutely. Certain ways of cooking and things like that. All certain ways of harvesting, fishing. It's a lot of things that you can learn from the other nations. But there's something that the Most High doesn't want you to learn. Right?
Like if I could,
the knowledge real quick. The knowledge of good and evil is how good it is to serve the Most High and how bad it is to not serve the Most High. And that's what now we'll get into that in just a second in Ezekiel the 31st chapter. But go ahead. You got
I was gonna say too, just because I know people want to take it literal. Like everything you say could be like a metaphor or analogy, but as soon as it comes to the Bible, especially in the creation, in the first few chapters, everything has to be literal for some reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we say today, food for thought.
Right.
But now for some reason that can apply to the Bible. The Bible can't use that phrase.
Right.
Yeah.
What about in the book of Ezekiel where it says eat this roll? Like when the Most High told Ezekiel the prophet to eat this scroll, what do you think? The Most High was like, hey nigga, come eat this book. Come shove this book in your mouth and digest it. No, that's why, once again, excellent analogy, food for thought, right? You feed your brain things. When you learn something new, you're feeding your brain.
Yeah.
Well, you can feed your brain the wrong shit. You can feed your brain, murder.
Junk food.
Yeah, junk food. You can feed your brain murder and rape. I mean, you can just learn all of the evil things that people do and start feeding your brain on that, and then now your brain tells you to do those same things. You can feed your brain things. Go ahead, Oxalaki.
Yeah, no, that was really it, sir. You know what I'm saying? Just to bring out that analogy, you know what I'm saying? Like we say today, food for thought, you know what I'm saying? That's not that we use today to tell people that, hey, you know what I'm saying, read this really give you something to think on. This is food for thought for you. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Most High was telling them at the time. Now these trees, these are places that these trees, the food that they're giving you, the fruit that they're giving, these are not fruit that's literal fruit. Because he had to explain to me what fruit did he eat. Right. Does it say? Doesn't give a type of fruit. Doesn't. Nowhere in it doesn't give any kind of fruit. It wasn't that apple. People like to say that's like everybody's go-to. It was an apple. He ate an apple. Does it say apple? Where find me in the Bible anywhere where it says Adam ate from the apple tree. You're not going to.
And that's the thing. Like people will take it so literal, and then read the book of Revelation and have all of these different ideologies of what the dragon and the beast is and all of these things, because they won't read the book of Revelation and think that there's actually a dragon that was fighting people. There's actually a woman with 12 stars for her, 12 stars upon her head. They're not taking that literal. You know what I'm saying? They'll take the serpent talking like as literal. We'll get to that in just a second too. You had some like.
If I could, sir, to build on what you're saying, I think it's very. It makes it more simplistic when we look at it in a way of what is a producer and what is a consumer. Mm-hmm. Other nations all over the earth right now produce certain things. Certain things it's all right to consume. Certain things it's not. Most High saying in the scripture is what they produce, their fruit, do not consume that.
Right.
It's a lot.
No, for sure. Let's read Ezekiel 31:3. Let's start at verse 3.
Now, guys, this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 3. Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar.
Was it what?
Was a cedar.
The Assyrian. The Assyrians are a nation that we've been in captivity before, right? So specifically around the time of this prophet that we're reading right now, Ezekiel, right? Well, the Assyrian was what?
A cedar.
A cedar. What is a cedar? It's a type of tree. And the Most High is saying the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon. Go ahead.
Cedar in Lebanon with fair branches.
With fair branches. So the branches were beautiful. This is all a metaphor, right? Keep going.
And with a shadowing shroud.
With a shadowing shroud, right? Producing plenty of leaves on that cedar tree, right? Go ahead.
And of a high stature.
And of a high stature, right? Very tall. It was a healthy tree, right? Keep going.
And his top was among the thick boughs.
And his top was among the thick boughs. This is all talking about how healthy the Assyrian Empire was. That's all this is talking about. It's not calling the Assyrian man and woman an actual tree, like you believe Genesis is doing, right? It's calling the Assyrian Empire very healthy, right? Their branches and the boughs that come on those branches, those leaves, it's all talking about their riches, right? Right. Talking about excellent example that the brother gave, right? They're exporting more than they're importing. You understand? Meaning they're making money. You understand? They're on, and that's the analogy here. If you could read verse 4 for me real quick.
Okay. Verse 4, the waters made him great. The deeps.
The waters made him great. What makes a tree grow? Water. That's food for that tree. And the Most High is saying that the Assyrian Empire was watered to make it such a great empire. What is that talking about? It's talking about riches. That money is the water that's flowing into that tree, making it grow. What makes you grow as an empire? Cash rules, man. Money. You understand? You have to have something. You can't be a nation with nothing. You understand? Go ahead, you had something?
My cousin, sir. One of the things that we know is global is what makes every nation rich is the commerce that they do. Right. And one of the heaviest and most lucrative ways of commerce is shipping. Mm-hmm. And the waters that come from other nations, it's easy to understand that the commerce that the other nations were doing with this particular nation was helping them to get rich, because just like the United States today, they're doing so much business with so many nations that they have the ability, the actual gross domestic product, if you will, to produce way more than any other tree supply.
Exactly. So that's the point, right? We have to understand. And I just want to read this quickly so we can understand that the trees that this is talking about are not actual trees. That's why the Most High said you can eat of all of these trees, but there's one tree that you can't eat of, right? Let's read verse 5.
Okay, verse 5. Therefore, his height was exalted above all the trees of the field.
So we're still talking about the Assyrian. Because of how plentiful this nation of people was and how many resources they had, not the Most High, Salaki, they were exalted above all the other trees or above all the other nations. Let's skip down to verse 8.
Okay, verse 8. The cedars in the garden of God.
In the what?
In the cedars in the garden of God.
So the other trees in the garden of God. What's this garden of God? Is talking about the Garden of Eden, what we're talking about right now. The other trees or the other nations, now that we have that understanding, the other nations in the Garden of Eden, go ahead,
could not hide him.
could not hide him. Meaning they were not, we just talked about the stature of this tree, right? This tree is so tall because it's so healthy. The other trees couldn't match up. They couldn't hide him. They couldn't get as tall as him because this specific tree was so tall and healthy, they couldn't reach that level, right? Keep going.
Okay. The fir trees were not his boughs.
So now these are other types of trees. We're talking about a cedar, which are those big trees that you see in the forest, and then we're talking about fir trees, little skinny joints. The fir trees, go ahead, sis. Ezekiel 31, and we're at verse 8. What you want, if you're taking notes, Ezekiel 31, verses 3 through 9. This is going to explain who the trees are in the Garden of Eden. All right. So the fir trees were not like his boughs. Go ahead.
Okay. And the chestnut trees were not like his branches.
And the chestnut trees were not like his branches. Keep going.
Nor any tree in the garden of God was like unto him in his beauty.
No tree, meaning no other nation, could match up to this specific nation. The only reason I'm reading this is so y'all can understand what these trees are in the Garden of Eden. The body bag in this whole situation. You need some time, sis, before we keep going?
No,
Okay, verse 9.
Okay. Verse 9. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden,
All the what?
all the trees of Eden,
All the trees of Eden. Remember, the context here, we're talking about the Assyrians. Why the hell is it talking about trees? Because that's the way that the Most High decided to make this analogy, right? All the trees of Eden, go ahead,
that were in the garden of God envied him.
envied him because no other nation could be as great as them. And that's just what we have to understand. The Most High utilized this analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it, this similitude to show these nations, when they're healthy, are just like a healthy tree. They're plentiful. You understand?
Right.
They're healthy, right? They're bearing what? Fruit. Well, that's what the Most High is making this comparison so we can understand more than just saying, yeah, they were really rich. Nah, the Most High don't talk like that. That's the way a white man would talk. He's going to talk. He's going to make you understand. Why did Christ give us the analogies, the parables? Why did he talk like that? When the disciples asked him why he talked like that, what was his response? Kabarama?
He said that it was because the message is for you. It's not
Right.
for everybody. And to paraphrase it, but to see what that means today, it's just like when Caucasians do what we call dog whistling, when they speak esoterically. So if the message is not for you, it goes right over your head. You can be in a room full of people and say certain things to where someone knows that you're giving a message, it's clear, but you have no clue what the details are.
Give me Judges 9. Right, and that's part of the point. It's like almost like the Most High's. It's like the way that Jewish people with their Talmud, they try to teach, and this is not true, but they're lying about it. This is what they tell you. They say that the Talmud speaks in code, so only real Jews can understand it. You know what? You know why they do that? The reason why they do that is because they say things like, "Well, a 3-year-old, you can have sex with a 3-year-old." They say you should suck a baby's penis when you circumcise. They say that, and they say, "Well, that They say that Adam, when it said that he could not find and help meet for him, the reason why that is because he was having sex with all the animals and he didn't like that. That's what they believe over there in the Jewish community. That's written in their Talmud. But they try to say, well, that's not actually what it means. It's more of a metaphor. You just can't understand it because you're not a Jew. That's fake. But this, once again, in the book of Amos, it says that the secrets are revealed to his servants, the prophets. There are mysteries in this Bible, but it's really easy to understand when we can go upon these precepts and understand what the trees are. Go upon these precepts and understand what the rib is. Right? Let's get that for me real quick. Judges 9 and 8.
Book of Judges, chapter 9, verse 8. The trees went forth on a time to anoint a king over them.
So now you telling me trees went and they were just looking for a king?
They think it's Lord of the Rings, sir.
Yeah, I guess so. Keep going.
And they said unto the olive tree, reign thou over us.
And they telling the olive tree, hey, I want you to reign. So of course, this is once again, it's not talking about trees. It's talking about people. But the Most High, he's using this metaphor to get you to understand something. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's get back to it, right? Let's get back to it. let's get the serpent, right? Let's skip up into Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Now remember, the Most High told Adam he's not allowed to take of that tree. Now, what do we understand about that now that we understand what this tree is? Go ahead.
Like I said, we understand that that tree was producing something that Moses didn't want for Adam, and what that tree produced, if Adam consumed it, would open his eyes to this is what it's like now to not obey what I said.
Right.
Because there's consequences for it.
Right. And that's the thing. So the Most High is telling Adam, there are things that you can learn and do. And of course, I'll give you this information. The Most High communicated with Adam. All right. Which we can teach a whole class on that, how the Most High communicated with Adam through the constellations and all that. All of that is just, a whole class. You'd have to break that down. But you can learn from the Most High. And there's certain things that you can take from other places. But what you can't do, you can't learn this thing. What is this? What is this thing? That tree of knowledge of good and evil? What is that? That is the evil now that you've now introduced by taking hold of another nation or another tree's customs. All right.
We can go further too. That serpent, we know that if the trees are people, we know that the serpent is a person.
Right.
The serpent is not an actual snake.
Yeah, and we about to read that right now, and that goes into how our oppressor is the devil. The Bible speaks of. I'm gonna just drop the bomb on y'all. I'm going to I'm gonna give y'all a spoiler. The serpent that we about to read about is the so-called white man. It's that nation of people. Straight like that. We'll read about it right now. Genesis 3:1.
Okay, the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
So now, what are the beasts of the field? Got to read that. The beasts of the field are the other nations, but this specific nation, we'll read that. I'll give y'all the precept. I know it sounds like I'm just talking out of my behind, but I'm telling y'all, I got the precept. Just hold on for a second, right? So now, this serpent, this specific person or this specific nation was more subtle, meaning more cunning, more sneaky than all of the other beasts of the field or all of the other nations, right? Which the Most High God had made. Go ahead.
Okay. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
Give me Ezekiel 34. Now we see this damn devil. That's who this man is. That's who that serpent is. It's the devil that the Bible speaks about. We see him being cunning to this woman. Coming to this woman because we know that the woman is the weaker vessel and telling and asking this woman, yeah, God told you can't eat from here, huh? You can't get this information. You can't learn what we got to teach. You can't follow our culture, our customs, right? She's asking him that, or excuse me, he's asking her that question for a reason. Let's get Ezekiel the 34th chapter real quick before we break that down. Let's get verse 8.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter sorry. This book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 8. As I live, saith the Lord God, surely because my flock became a prey.
So my flock became a prey. What's a flock? Do you call humans? Is there a flock of humans? You go out to a rally, and you see a bunch of people or a concert or something like that. You don't say it's a flock of people. You talk when you're saying a flock, you're talking about what? Animals, right?
Yeah.
Right? Keep going. And these animals became a prey, just like how Eve was one that was chosen of the Most High along with Adam, and she became a prey to who? Keep going.
And my flock became meat to every beast of the field.
To every what?
To every beast of the field.
So now, once again, we have to understand what this got to be talking about, right? You read the context of Ezekiel the 34th chapter. This is talking about the fact that Israel became prey to the other nations. All of the beasts of the field. We've been in captivity under the Assyrians, under the Babylonians, in the sub-Saharan slave trade. We was under East Indians and Africans and all types of people. Here we are in America being under the so-called white man. We become prey or meat to all of the other nations to devour. And that's what this is talking about. We've become prey to all of the other beasts of the field. The beasts of the field are talking about the other nations. And so now when we go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, we realize that this serpent being called more subtle than the other beasts of the field only proves to us that this man or this nation of people was the worst nation of people. They were worse than the Assyrians. They were worse than the Babylonians because they're more cunning. Think about it, right? Under our oppressor, this is the only servitude that we've been under where they literally take our identity and tell us that we're not that. We're just niggas. Under the Babylonian captivity, those was Africans. We still knew we was Israelites. Under the Assyrian captivity, we knew we was Israelites. The Greek occupation of Israel, we understood still that we were Israelites.
Even under the Romans, we still knew that we were Israelites.
Under the Romans. But this captivity under Esau is the most cunning, because not only did they make us perfect slaves, but they've also taken our identity from us. And so now we don't even know who we are to come back to our laws. Chinese people, I say this all the time, Chinese people don't have to run outside and say, hey, did you know that you're a Chinese person? Did you know you really come from China? They don't have to do that. They know their history. But for us, we got to go out and do these flower missions and go out in these campaigns and go to camp, and all of these things to tell people, hey, brother, what are you? What's your nationality? Oh, I'm black. What do you mean you black? What does that even mean? Black? That's it? A Hispanic will say, yeah, I'm Mexican. What are you talking about, Mexican? Like, you're like 3 or 4 times removed from your true identity, because the so-called Mexicans, a lot of them, they come from the areas that they were in. You had the Aztecs and all different types of these native tribes that's still even not what they are. I'd be glad if a brother told me, yeah, I'm Aztec, I'm Mayan or something like that. You got to just tell me, at least do that. That's okay. We're only like once removed, because before you were Mayan, you were really an Israelite. But us having to do that just proves that they're the most cunning nation, because they've now misdirected all of our identities to be, oh, I'm black, oh, I'm Mexican American. You understand? I'm Native American. What the hell are you talking about?
They tell you that your history begins with slavery.
Right. Yeah. Nothing before that.
Like, the only thing you know before that, you were taking off the west coast of Africa.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, who did you belong to? Then what they redo to trick you too? Say, well, your people sold you to us.
Right.
That's what they say. That's what they say. When they know that Africans and Israelites are two different people, they know that the Hamites and the Israelites are not the same. Right. But they know that you don't know that, because they stripped that from you. Yeah. They stripped all that knowledge from you. Now they can just tell you whatever you want to hear. So they'll tell you, no, Africans sold Africans to white people. That's what they say. And if you're not, if you ain't got this truth, you'll believe that.
I'm gonna show y'all something real quick. One more precept. I know we got to move along. I just got to give y'all one more precept talking about these beasts. Remember, the serpent was the most subtle beast in the field. Let's get Ecclesiastes. I'll just pull it real quick. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 18. All right, Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 18. Says, I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men that God. Now, who are the sons of men? Are they the Israelites? No. We're the sons of God. Remember, when you go back into the 6th chapter of Genesis, it says that the sons of God dealt with the daughters of men. We're not the sons or daughters of men. So now this is talking about the other nations of people, right? I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. That's Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. That's what this is. The scriptures talking. It's right in front of your face. So now we understand that the serpent was the most cunning amongst all the other beasts. This was just the nation of people. I call it the white man. Just be plain and simple. He's the most cunning of all the other nations. Now, let's read. Damn, I had a lot more that I wanted to bring up on that. I got a lot of precepts on that beast one. Yeah. Like, you can even go and you can take it for your notes. Daniel, the 7th chapter and the 3rd verse, it says, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Verse 17 breaks it down and tells us, these great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall rise out of the earth. These are talking about, and specifically these beasts are talking about the other nations, right? 4 kings of the other nations. So the Bible consistently refers to the other nations as beasts, right? Revelation, the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 3. It tells us that there's a dragon or a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Those 7 heads and 10 horns are all Edomitic or Edomite or white man, white, whatever you want to call it, white nations. All of those nations, it gets broken down in the book of Revelation. So even these other nations in the book of Revelation are being referred to as beasts. I mean, there's just so many precepts that I really want to give. But
this is why, you know what I'm saying, you have to come to the ISUPK for these breakdowns, because Your pastor is not gonna give it to you. These other Israel's not gonna give you the real thing either.
And definitely not going to ask you answer any of your questions. Definitely not doing that.
Nah, they're gonna tell you, you gotta hush up, or you got some ones who will call themselves Christ, and then they'll tell you that you can't read the Bible.
Yeah, that Yaju cat.
Yeah.
That Yaju cat said he's Jesus Christ, and the book was not read for you to read because you're not me. So really, the book was just written in vain. Like that, but that's the same thing as Christianity.
Yeah.
They're telling you, well, you can't interpret this thing. I'll tell you what it means. But then when you ask me a question, I'm not going to answer it. You just have to believe it through the Spirit.
Or you get told to hush up, keep quiet, and they pretty much shun you, or put you at a distance to where you just kind of just leave.
Yeah, these fake Israelites groups, they do the same thing. They'll, you question anything that they got going on, they say, shut the hell up. You believe, and then some of them will use this thing. They'll say, well, you believed everything your Christian pastor taught you. You can't believe us. It's just using those type of tactics.
That's gaslighting right there.
It's gaslighting like a mug. Hey, but that's the point. You understand? So really, you have to realize where the truth is. If you believe something else is the truth, that's fine. This right here, us breaking this down, it's crazy. We got to fit this thing into 2 hours, but it's so much information. It's like almost like a crash course. But if anybody has any questions, of course, you can reach out to us. While live, you can type the questions in. You can come to class and ask your questions. You can, ISUPKArizona@gmail.com. You can email us, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you want. Just ask us the questions.
Right.
You think I'm full of crap? Just call me on it. You know what I mean? Call our number. Our number's on our website.
Right. And if you let's say you see this video later, still put a comment down there. We get told when comments are put on the video, so we'll still answer you even if the video two months down the line you watch this video. Still put something in the comment section. We'll still answer. Listen, y'all, people will comment on all videos from all these big white YouTubers and all these other people, but won't do it for us. You know what I'm saying? Listen, it don't matter how old this video is when you see it. You got a question? I said multiple ways to contact us, or just put in the comment.
Right.
We'll get notified. We'll go see it. We'll answer you. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't do it in a comment, we'll say, hey, we're gonna make a video addressing your comment. Whichever, you know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to get in touch with us, as I want to put it. Phone numbers, Gmail, you know what I'm saying, email, whatever. So many ways to get in touch with us to get your questions answered. And we don't mind answering questions over here. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't got it, he got it. He ain't got it. Also, I got it. Also, I got it. Also, I got it. He ain't got it. Listen, we are one body here in the ISUPK. So let's believe I'm gonna get the answer. When I get the answer, you get the answer. Like I said earlier, we here in ISUPK, we are taught, you know what I'm saying, how to be smart. You know what I'm saying? A smart man would not tell you just anything. He's gonna give you correct information. That's what we do here. We're not here to give you misinformation. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to I don't want to say save you. Sounds Christian. Misinformation is not going to save you, right? But the correct information will save you. You know, so we'll put you on that right path. You know, to following the Most High, to doing His law, statutes, commandments. That's at the end of the day. That's what this is all about. Us being obedient to the Most High. And saying Adam and Eve were not obedient. Saying they chose to partake of that knowledge.
And this is where we always get jammed up, because most of the time it's not something that's in our own mind. It's something we're influenced by external sources. And that's like Eve. Okay, you got to understand. Adam was given the instructions by the Most High God, and he listened. And so when he got his wife, he told his wife the same instructions. And you know how we know that she know? Let's get back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. Read verse 1, and then we'll just come on down and make these points.
Okay. Book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. Mm-hmm. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, ye should not eat of every tree of the garden?
So now he's asking the woman, he knows that she knows. right? But he's asking the woman. He's saying, "Hey, did the Most High tell you you can eat of any tree of the garden except for this one?" Keep going.
And verse 2, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Right. So no. And that's the thing. That's where we get. Okay, hold on. My bad. I gotta really get there with you. My bad. Look, y'all gotta understand something about this conversation. This is accountability. So it says the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High God had made, and he said unto the woman, talking about Eve, yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? So he's asking a negative question, meaning ye shall not eat, but she says, no, we can eat of the trees of the garden. So she, this is how you know she has received this instruction herself. Because not only did she corrected him, no, we can eat. Right. There's just one tree that we can't eat from. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 3. But the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Listen, she knows what she's talking about. She has received this instruction from her husband. She was told by her husband the same thing that the Most High told him, which is don't get involved with these other nations. Don't learn their culture. And we're going to prove that it's talking about the culture in just a minute. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 4. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
So this devil, right? This man is telling her, you ain't got to listen to your husband or that God that he thinks he follows. You got to listen to them. You're not going to die from getting this information, from following this culture. Keep going.
Okay. Verse 5. For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So now you're gonna know you're gonna have the information. See, God don't want you to know this thing. That man, your husband is what is he doing? Oppressing you. Oh, he's putting his foot down, but he really just oppressing you.
Right.
You should be a strong woman.
Some people put it, saying God didn't want Adam and Eve to have any kind of knowledge. So the serpent was. I've seen where people say the serpent was in the right because he opened Adam and Eve's eyes because God wanted them to be blind. He didn't want them to live a good life.
That's literally that's great.
Yeah, no, I've seen that people point out that the serpent was the hero in this situation. The serpent is the villain.
He's the oppressor. He's the same one that tells our women, hey, where did the feminism movement come from? White women. You understand? And you know why it's such a terrible thing? Because they have now taught our women that. Do you think this twerking and all of that comes from us? Like this is us? Our like black people just naturally we like to twerk. Our women just love to twerk. No, that don't come from us. The first women to really start showing their body and wearing them short shorts and wearing them bikinis, it was the white women that was a part of that feminist group. That feminist movement. They started going to the beach. That before they used to have to wear clothes to go to the beach.
Right.
They started wearing the two-piece bathing suits, the little bikinis. They started doing them little dances. That's why I'm telling y'all, they would wear these little tiny little shorts, we call them crop tops, all of that. Back in the 50s, 60s, man. And they would go to these places where they would dance, and they was rebelling against, being repressed from being able to show their body. And so they would go and they would dance extremely sexually. And that's where you get your twerking and your grind and all of that from, because these women, these white women, a part of this feminist movement, will go and they would say, nah, these men can't control us. We're going to shake our ass. We're going to go dance provocatively.
I'm going to show my breast. It's like,
yeah, I'm going to put my cleavage out. You understand? And this is my point. My point is they have been taught the same way the serpent taught Eve. By our oppressor has taught us, hey, you don't have to listen to your husband. Put him on child support. Kick him out the house so I can give you welfare. You don't have to, when he tells you to cover your ass up, you ain't got to do that. You're your own woman. Wear whatever type of booty shorts you want to wear. Put your front butt out, all of that. And you know what's going to happen? What has happened is they listen because it's the same thing that happened before. History repeats itself. The serpent told this woman, you ain't got to listen to your husband.
Right.
He's just trying to stop you from being a god, queen. When a nigga call you a queen, you better know he's trying to get over on you.
Right.
When a nigga call you a queen, you know he's trying to get over on you. You better know it.
And listen,
but
queen,
you could do, you
goddess.
Yeah, you a goddess, or the black woman is God, all that garbage. Listen, all they trying to do is just get over on you. And that's what the serpent did. The serpent said, you could be a god. Why are you listening to your husband and listen to that so-called God that you serve? Nah, listen to me. I'm telling you, it's some shit over here that you want. You're being repressed from it. And that's the same thing that happened with the feminist movement, the same thing that happened with us being in these poverties, these ghettos. General Muhammad broke it down last night. You know, those project buildings in New York, you know, Jewish people used to live in those. And now we live in them. Here's the thing. Jewish people, they committed crime and, you know, sold drugs and all of these things. This is something that you could just look up. I'm not lying on them. They committed crimes and sold drugs to get out of those projects. And now when black people do it, we're vilified for it. We're in those same exact project buildings. The thing is, our oppressor, they set up systems for these people, government assistance that is not like, you know, food stamps. So I'll give you $200, you know, a month to buy food. It's not nothing like that. We're talking about grants and loans. So these Jewish people could start their own businesses. So these Jewish people could get out. And it's not even just the Jewish. I don't want to put the whole thing on them. You know, the same thing with the Irish, the same thing with the Chinese. Like they put them in positions to get out of the I want to say the poverty that they were in, so they could get rich. So now they own the Diamond District. Now they own every what do you call it? Chinatown, and all of the hair shops in all of our neighborhoods, and making millions of dollars off of us. They were put in that position. Us, we get told by our oppressor, hey, you should follow what they did. They committed so many crimes and got rich. So now that they got out of the project building, you should do the same thing to get out of the project building. That's what the serpent was telling Eve. But the problem is that it don't work that way for us. Right. You understand? So like you had something?
What's crazy is it's like they're put in a position to where they integrate.
So where they what?
So where they integrate that right there, them taking on that culture and the whole the gift destroys the heart. That's integration. The whole thing of absorbing what another nation is doing and mimicking what they did for any type of success or something like that. That's all integration. It's old school integration.
Yeah, and so now we're gonna close out with this the breakdown of what happened after. So everybody knows this. You can be a Christian and know this. Eve listened to that serpent. I could be a God. Good night. All right, well, cool. I'm gonna disobey my God and I'm gonna be my own God. And then she gave that same knowledge information to her husband, and he partook of it too. All right. Give me Genesis 2 and 20. Give me Genesis 2 and 25. I know we're going backwards, but I want y'all to just walk with me here. Okay. Genesis 2 and 25. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 2, verse 25. They were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed.
So now, this is what y'all got to understand. In Genesis 2 and 25, this is before Adam and Eve took of that knowledge of good and evil, right? And before that, they were naked, meaning they didn't have other nations' culture. All they had was their own culture, and they wasn't ashamed. That's what that nakedness is talking about. Now, of course, we'll get the precepts for it, right? They weren't ashamed of not going against the Lord, right? Y'all know it's some people that leave the truth because they're ashamed of serving God. I'm in my culture right now. Niggas might look at me crazy. I got this gi on. He got this garment on. He got a headpiece on. I got my headpiece on. I mean, some people leave the truth because they're so ashamed of following their culture that the Most High gave them that they'll leave their culture. I'm naked right now. I'm meaning I don't have the other nation's culture on me. You understand? Right. I'm not acting like them. I'm not using their drugs. I'm not speaking like them. I don't think like them. I'm thinking like an Israelite because the Most High told me that's my culture. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed to go out looking crazy as hell to everybody. You think when people call us Power Rangers, it makes us upset? No. We don't give a damn about that. Call us Power Rangers. Power Rangers saved the goddamn world. I'm a goddamn Power Ranger. Call me that.
You trying to tell me it's not cool to have a giant robot?
You said, like, point being, man, is, you know, we embrace our culture, and this is what Adam and Eve did before they took of the other cultures and the nation's information, right? So that's Genesis 2 and 25. Now we got to go into after they took of the nation's cultures, right? Give me Genesis 3 and 7.
Okay. Book of Genesis chapter 3, verse 7. And the eyes of both of them were open.
Now they could see because now they understand the other nation's culture, what they do, the information that they have that the Most High didn't want us to have because it was not beneficial to us. Keep going.
Okay. And they knew that they were naked.
And now they knew that they were naked. Go ahead.
And they sewed fig leaves
And
together.
they did what?
Sewed fig leaves together.
So now they know they're naked, meaning they know that there's other nations and other cultures that they can now latch onto. Remember, before they wasn't worried about other cultures. They wasn't worried about, I want to be a loan shark and get rich doing that. They wasn't worried about, I want to work in the diamond district. They wasn't worried about all of that. They was worried about themselves and family business. They didn't want none of that. They didn't want to smoke weed. They didn't even know what weed was. The other nations all getting high, smoking heroin, shooting up,
Right.
And we didn't even know about that. We didn't know how good it felt to put that needle in your vein and get high off of that opium. We didn't know what it felt like. But now you took of their culture, and part of their culture is shooting up that heroin. Part of that culture is smoking that cigarette when you got a bad day, when you're stressed out. And you like, damn, I could have been smoking cigarettes the whole time. When I get into a jam, I could just smoke a cigarette. When I've had a bad day, I could smoke a blunt. I could feel this good all the time. I could smoke heroin and feel this good. I could smoke that damn fentanyl and be high off my ass all day. God was trying to stop me from this. See, we so goddamn stupid. We think we think like that. We think like, damn, God is telling me I can't smoke weed. Well, I don't want that because I would rather just smoke weed.
The people say, now people, they figure out, now I'm an Israelite and I follow the Bible. I'm saying, especially I must say, they like, well, you must have a very boring life then, huh?
Yeah, because they don't want to take on their own culture. Because see, listen, and that's true. People will say, what do you mean? You can't eat pork? Oh my God, you can't have a seafood boil? Oh, y'all tripping. I can't live. I had a nigga tell me, you niggas are so simple. I had a nigga tell me, oh, y'all don't eat bacon? Man, I don't know, man. I couldn't go without eating bacon. Nigga, you telling me you telling me that bacon is the deciding factor on whether or not you serve God? But for some people, yeah, it is. And it's also because they want to have sex with white women, because they want to get high. You understand? There's a plethora of things that make people stop serving God. And all of it is you choosing other people's culture. When you have sex with that white woman, you're leaving your culture. And now you're giving to that white woman what you should be giving to a black or Hispanic woman.
Right.
That leadership and that ride, all of that, you should be given to a woman of your own nation, but you're not going to the other nations for that. You understand? You smoking that weed and getting high off of their heroin, you're benefiting the other nations off of that. You get what I'm saying? You giving them all your money. And that's all their culture. And that's what happened with Adam and Eve. They decided that God was holding them back. So now that's what this is talking about. Now they know that they're naked and they are ashamed of it. They're ashamed of their culture. Now they don't want to wear the mitri and the gi. They don't want to wear the headpiece. They don't want to keep the dietary law no more because they realize, damn, you're telling me I can eat pork? You telling me I can get high? God stopped me from that the whole time. He's limiting me. So now what did they do? They sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Now they put on another nation's culture. Now they are smoking weed. Now I'm not saying Adam and Eve smoke weed. Don't do that to me. But I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to give y'all the similitude that this is talking about.
That's gonna be
yeah. Somebody gonna click that and be like, yeah, this nigga rock tripping.
But ISUPK said you can smoke weed.
So anyway, so look, this is them sewing them fig leaves. Remember, they were naked before they got the knowledge of good and evil. They was naked and they didn't give a damn because they had their own culture. But now they know they're naked after having the knowledge of good and evil, and now they're sewing fig leaves. All that's talking about is, now I know I can smoke weed, I'm gonna smoke weed. Now I know I can get high, I'm gonna get high. Now I know I can eat whatever I want. I can eat alligator. Damn, all of these animals out here that you telling me you telling me I can eat a horse now? All these damn horses running around here, telling me I can eat them now. You understand? That's what they did. They sewed those fig leaves that they sewed and made aprons and covered themselves up. They covered themselves with the other nations' cultures. Go ahead, Ox.
Talk with this brother. Just the security down in Tucson, right? I don't know if y'all know, like Arizona has a javelina problem. Javelinas are wild pigs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're a problem, especially they're down there in Tucson. I got chased by a couple of them.
Nice.
doing security at night. You know what I'm saying?
That's terrible.
They're mean and they're not nice animals. My mother told me, "It's like, listen, I have to eat pork, man." I was like, "Listen, you don't got to eat pork. Listen, I have to. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm gonna kill one of these javelinas because they're pigs. I'm just eat that, man." I was like, but you know that's bad for them. They know what they be eating. They don't pop out. You know whatever they eat, you eat. No, they don't pop digest their food, nothing like that. So they're not good animals to eat. For you. They're not healthy, man. Oh man, no, you trying to kill me with that Bible stuff. I'm gonna go kill these javelinas. I'm gonna get me some pig.
Yeah, you try killing a goddamn javelina, he gonna eat you to pieces. You trying to eat that motherfucker? He gonna eat you. Salaki for my language. Forgive me.
Nah,
All right, now let's
javelinas are tough animals.
Give me Exodus 32. Yeah, javelina. You try to kill a goddamn javelina, you ain't got no experience. You know that javelina gonna kill you, man. You gonna be food for him. This is the second to last precept. 32 and 25. Exodus. Let's get 20. Okay. All right, give me verse 23. This is a time. Well, just read it. So like,
this is the book of Exodus, chapter 20. It's like chapter 32, verse 23.
mm-hmm.
For they said unto me, "Make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, that the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him."
So now let me explain what's happening. Most of us understand there was a time when we was coming out of Egypt, coming into our holy land. We were in the wilderness, and Moses spent 40 days on Mount Sinai with the Most High, and that's where he delivered to him all of his law, statutes, and commandments, all of these records that we're reading about in the book of Genesis, all of that. That's a long time, and he didn't say, "Hey, I'll be back in 40 days." He just said, "I'll be back." It could have been 2 days, it could have been 2 hours, it could have been 2 years. Nobody knew. And so they got impatient and they told Aaron, which was supposed to be the high priest at the time, which is Moses' brother, "Hey, I what not what has become of Moses," meaning this nigga just let us out just to lead us into destruction so we could starve to death. You know what? I don't like serving this God that he's up there talking to because they want to leave us to die.
Right.
Make us a golden calf. Make us an idol to serve. And so Aaron, he said, okay. And this is him explaining to Moses after he can't, like the Most High saw that and was like, "I'm going to kill all of these niggas and just make a nation out of you." Moses had to persuade the Most High, "Hey, let me just go talk to them real quick. I'm going to get them right. Please don't do that, Lord." Because all the other nations going to be like, you just brought them out of Egypt just to kill them. You're a terrible God.
Right.
So Moses pleaded with the Most High, came down to talk to us. Now Aaron is explaining to Moses what happened and why now they have created an idol, which is explicitly against the Most High's law. The so-called 10 commandments was given before this in Exodus, the 20th chapter. And one of those, the first law is what? "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." And they broke it already. So Aaron is explaining what's happening. Go ahead.
You can. Verse 24. And I said unto them, "Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off."
Mm-hmm.
So they gave it to me. Then I cast it into fire, and there came out this calf.
And there came out his calf. Like he didn't do the metal work to form this calf or whatever. Aaron get a pass from me. He was our high priest at the time. He made a mistake that most of us have made in our lives. Keep going.
Verse 25. And Moses saw that the people were naked.
Well, what?
And when Moses saw that the people were naked.
So now you telling me Moses came down off of this mountain, started talking to Aaron, and he looked around and said, "Damn, why everybody ride out? These women got their chests out. Why everybody naked?" That's not what this is talking about. Read it from the top and keep going.
Okay. And Exodus chapter 32, verse 25. And Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked.
Aaron did what?
For Aaron had made them naked.
Now, are you telling me Aaron stripped off everybody's clothes? All he asked, listen, that'd be going the extra mile, because all he asked was just take your earrings off and your chains and your bracelets, and I'm going to put those things in the fire and make an idol. He didn't say, "Give me your shirt and your pants."
Certain clothes, certain pants had gold on them, sir.
Nah, man, don't do that to me. Listen, anyway, point being, all he asked them to do is, so this is not, let's not take the analogy too far. This is really what it is. This is not talking about Moses looked up and everybody naked now, right? It say Aaron had made them naked. Go ahead.
Unto their shame.
Unto what?
Unto their shame.
Go ahead.
among their enemies.
That's what happened with Adam and Eve. They made themselves naked unto shame unto their enemies. Give me Ecclesiasticus 4:21. You had something up?
What you're saying, that spirit of that whole being naked is easy to understand as well, because if somebody was naked in amongst other people, you will clearly see that something's really, really wrong with them. For example,
Yeah.
in the Jewish community, everybody knows that they are really, really wrong. Like they're deviant as hell. And when you're viewed as naked and you're shameful, everybody can clearly see y'all way off, which is what the other nations are doing right now, and they're exploiting us because we're naked.
Exactly, and that's what we have to understand. We when we decide we're going to go against the Most High. Now we've become naked unto our shame towards our enemies. That's what happened with Adam and Eve. Like there was a family. You understand? This is way before Israel, but there was a chosen lineage out of Adam that Adam was the first of. And he now has compromised, his image. Remember, you was talking about that in the beginning of the class. Now the other nations is like, oh yeah, they're just like us. Like that's me taking off this. I got to take this off to go. What you talking about? I can wear this anywhere. My UPK shirts. I wore this to Kazakh's Where's he at? He's asleep. I wore this to Kazakh's basketball game with my fringes on and everything. You think I'm gonna take it off? Oh, I'm not gonna wear this. Because it's American basketball. I don't want to offend nobody. God damn that. I'm gonna wear this. I wear one of the first times I brought him to a basketball game, I was fully UPK'd out. I had my headpiece on, all of that. I'm not ashamed. Now, I'm not saying y'all gotta be like that, but I wear my UPK stuff everywhere because I'm not ashamed of this. You gonna say you had something?
I was gonna say, the man that fully embodies that, no shame of Kabbalah Ma. This brother not saying he can't get in with the spikes on. I ain't going in
because that's our culture. I don't blame the brother for that. I don't blame him for that. You know what I'm saying? And for the brothers that would take their spikes off to abide, whatever, that's cool. But to your point with that, like that's our culture. Why should I have to? You get what I'm saying? That's like somebody telling me like I can't wear this in here because it got fringes on it. What you talking about? I can't come in your club because I just rather not come in your club. Well, I gotta come in a white tee and Nikes. Now that's cool. Some brothers dress like that, and I'm totally, fine, whatever. But what I'm saying is the brothers that do that, they're not ashamed. They're not wearing that because they're ashamed to wear a mitri in the club. Maybe they just don't want their head to be hot, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But my point is, we're not ashamed. And matter of fact, read Ecclesiasticus 4:21. That's in the Apocrypha.
Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 21. For there is shame that bringeth sin.
So now there's a shame that bringeth forth sin. What's that shame that bringeth forth sin? Peer pressure. That's what now it doesn't always have to be peer pressure, but just think about it like this, right? Think about it as peer pressure. Imagine, let's say that boy right there, he about to be going to high school soon. Okay, and he's going to be surrounded by nothing but people who don't believe in what we believe in. They don't believe in the dietary law. They don't believe in the Bible. They don't believe in keeping the feast days. They don't believe in how we dress. They don't believe in our ideologies. He's going to be surrounded by nothing but those types of people. There is a shame that bringeth forth sin. He can have the type of shame that we was just talking about. I don't want nobody to know I'm an Israelite. And he can have that type of shame where a cat gonna come up to him and be like, "You don't smoke weed.
What are you doing with your life?
Yeah,
how do you function?
You're a weirdo. All of us smoke
sad?
weed. We all do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that type of peer pressure is a shame that bringeth forth sin because, like, now I'm ashamed that it's unlawful for me to smoke weed. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to smoke the weed. And now you've entered into sin because you were so ashamed of keeping your culture. Like the scriptures say you can't be with a white woman. It might be some cats to try to push a white woman upon you. And you might be ashamed when the first time it happens, they like, so you push her away. You're like, no, I don't, I'm good. They're going to be like, she bad, bro. What are you talking about? You scared of women now. And that might make you like, damn, all right, well, I guess I got to get this white woman now. You get what I'm saying? I've seen it happen. And it was cats that wasn't in the truth. Back when I was in school, that was like, they wouldn't deal with white women. And then as soon as it was a white woman pushed upon them or whatever, and they was like, nah, dudes was like, "You gay, bro? You just don't, you don't like vagina." So he like, "Well, no, man, I like vagina, man. Hey, come here." You know what I'm saying? I've seen it happen with my own eyes. That's that shame that bringeth forth sin. If somebody call you gay because you don't have sex with white women, you know what you should do? You say, if you have sex with that white woman, you're gay.
Right.
And you obviously don't like women because that's a dog that you're trying to have sex with.
Right.
That's and of course people aren't going to understand that. So what? People didn't understand Christ. When Christ called that woman a dog, Christians still today don't understand what he's talking about in Matthew the 25th chapter, or in the 15th chapter, excuse me. So I don't care about what people understand. If you upset with me, if you don't want to be around me because I don't smoke weed, then go be a pothead over there. I don't want to be around you. I don't like being around stupid niggas. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You have something?
At my slavery, there's a brother there who every time, you know what I'm saying, at slavery I work at the airport. You know what I'm saying? And every time he sees a white woman, especially if it's a white woman that has a big behind on her, you know what I'm saying? He be like, so you telling me that white woman with that donkey walking by, you ain't gonna hit that? Nah.
She is a donkey. Shit.
Not touching that at all. He's like, no, she was a black woman, it'd be different. I'd be right there all over it. But she's not. Every single one. But she thinks, you don't think she good enough? I was like, no. I already told you. It's only black and Hispanic women, my brother. He's like, I don't know, man. These white women, they trying to be thicker than black women.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, brother. A lot of those are BBL. A lot of those are not real.
I'd rather have the authentic, the genuine leather. Anyway, but this is my point, man. We have to understand. We have to understand there is a shame that bringeth forth sin. You understand? And I think those examples are, very good examples. Just to understand the mindset. Let's read that from the top. Just to understand the mindset of what Eve went through and what Adam went through. The serpent shamed them into disobeying the Most High. Like, what? You don't want this? You don't want to be a god? And of course, they were shamed. They were so peer pressured into it that they was like, all right, I'll do it. What, you don't like to get high? Oh man, you know how many people, why people get on heroin? Because they were peer pressured into it. That fentanyl, the cats out there that on that fentanyl, they know what it does to people, but they get around somebody that's on it and they peer pressure. I saw this, there's a brother that does these street interviews with like homeless people. And almost every time I see a woman that's on blues or on fentanyl, he asked them how they got on it. It was like, oh, this guy that I was messing with, he told me, it made him feel good. Well, that's the same thing the serpent does to us, or did to Eve. You understand? Which is, this is the best thing you could ever have. God is stopping you from feeling amazing. And we know the scriptures say in the book of Timothy that a woman that lives in pleasure is dead while she liveth. And that's what happened to Eve. Let's read that again real quick so we can close out.
Okay. Book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4, verse 21. For they're the shame that bringeth sin. Mm-hmm. And they're the shame which is glory and grace.
And so now there's two different types of shame. Listen, when we go out to camp, we're shaming brothers and sisters. We are. You know how? We tell them, hey, brother, you got that cigarette in your hand. You realize that's killing you? Now I'm ashamed. You understand? Now I'm like, damn, he right. Like the side of the box says it's a Surgeon General warning. I'm going to die from smoking these things. When we saw Amatazar famous for this. Officer Amatazar see a black man with a white woman or vice versa. Oh, yeah, he going in. He said, you walk up and down Roosevelt Road with your dog, with your white dog. We're shaming that brother because it's like at the same time, it's not like we want to, belittle him, but we want him to understand, hey, brother, you realize what you're doing right now? You realize that you're with a dog. You should be with a black woman. You know what I'm saying?
With your oppressor's daughter. Man.
Right. You with your oppressor's daughter. Like, you're her slave right now. And so, and what we aim to do when we say things like that is to shame a brother into, damn, you know what? I should be ashamed, man. I should be with a black woman right now. My mother is black. Here I am with a white woman. It should make a brother think like that. And that's the shame, which is glory and grace. All right. The problem is Eve was shamed into, that shame that's unto sin. Right. The serpent made Eve ashamed to serve the Most High. The serpent made her ashamed to serve the Most High, right? When prior to that, the shame they experienced, that nakedness that we read in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, that was the glory of serving the Most High in the sight of the nations. Like that was that type of shame, because they were naked, but they were not ashamed because they were keeping what the Most High told them. And we see the clear difference in those two types of nakedness, right? So I hope everybody understands that. You had something up?
Yeah, no, but I hope that everybody today understood the breakdown, right, for the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? The breakdown for the trees. You know what I'm saying? Just even right now, you know what I'm saying, that Adam and Eve, gave into that shame that bringeth sin. There's nothing wrong with shame. Shame is to keep you in check. You know what I'm saying? The men and women get shamed. You know what I'm saying? The feminist movement make it seem like, oh, men only shame women to get women to obey them. Men get shamed into obedience too. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? People have to think that it's a one-way street.
Yeah, you know how many councils I've been in where I get told I'm wrong, and I'm like, damn, I'm ashamed that I even did this. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm ashamed that they're telling me I'm wrong, and the thing that I was wrong about, like, damn, I'm ashamed that I did that thing. You get what I'm saying? And that happens all the time.
Right. So the difference is, like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these people that they don't want to have authority over men and women are like that. You know what I'm saying? More so those women, especially the feminist movement. But this whole class today was just to give you the proper breakdown. Like I don't want to say, you know what I'm saying, it was a crash course, right? Because like I said, there's so much more you can go and pull out of just Genesis alone. Like the whole Bible, like, so you some just so much with the precepts upon everything that you can just pull out and break down. Like you're never going to know the whole Bible in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. There's always going to be something new you're going to learn. It's going to be revealed to you.
Yeah, no, and that's something definitely to touch on that. That's One West. Like, yes, this is the home of the truth. There are things that weren't revealed to us. Everything wasn't revealed to us in 1969. There were things that we had to progress and grow, and we have to understand that about this Bible. This Bible is a living book. Like these prophecies that we come in, that like the general be breaking down and things like that. Like, yeah, we always knew Russia was going to be a part of this thing, but then here we were in 2021, 2022, when we really was like, no, look at Russia doing this thing. Look at Ukraine. Look at all of these things. Like, so the things consistently get revealed to us. This is a living book. And when we read these things, now this is just, I'm gonna be honest, it is meat, versus milk. Like milk is the milk scriptures of, the color of the Israelites, keeping the law, things like that. This is more so meat, meaning it's a little bit harder to chew and understand. However, this is still the basic of, you got to get these things. You have to understand the creation.
Right.
Like you can't read the entire Bible and just not understand the creation of how we came to be and how, especially when we're talking about today, the Garden of Eden, all of that, it's important. So, but once again, these things are, you might not get that in your first 2 years of the truth, 3 years, 4 years. You understand? And that's why, once again, it's important to come to these classes, to take notes, to learn, because trust me, you'll never stop learning. General Muhammad will tell you that himself. There are things that I think General Muhammad knows everything, but there are certain questions that he has to get the answers from Commander General Yohana, because there are things in this Bible. This Bible is although it's a compact book, there's infinite understandings in this Bible, infinite mysteries. You understand? So
also, I've seen General Muhammad and I say to the guys like, I'm not too sure now. Let me get the answer for that one.
Exactly. You understand?
That's what I was saying earlier. That's what smart men do. Not just smart people. That's what man. That's what you don't give false information.
Yeah, that's how. If I could, like, I've seen a lot of people get jammed up because they want people to think that they're smart so bad that they will give them the answer that they think. That's why, like, we always teach in here, only teach what you've been taught. Don't let somebody ask you a question on Zechariah the 3rd chapter and you go and try to break it down and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, but because you want to seem smart, you give them the worst breakdown they've ever heard. You can, like, imagine that. Like trying to break down a chair. Like, I'm telling y'all, don't do that.
I was talking with a brother doing security out of Tucson. You know what I'm saying? I told him I'm not too sure about that. I'm not to get the answer on that one. How you like? How you gonna tell you've been saying the Bible, but you don't know the answer to that one? I was like, well, I might not. That one, I was like, that right there. I ain't really, I ain't asked for the breakdown for that one, but I'll ask for the breakdown for it. Now I'll come back and give it to you. He said, well, you should already know. I was like, well, do you know everything? It's like no, it's like I saw an interview with what's the black dude, the astronomer dude,
Oh, yeah, that idiot.
you
No,
know,
he's not
like,
really
idiot, but no, he signed it, but somebody was asked a question about something
What
about
the hell is his
physics.
name though? His name is
Can't remember his name, but I know the brother was saw an interview. He was asked a question about physics, and he's like, "Well, I haven't studied that part of physics in a long time. I know a friend who knows it, so I'll ask him."
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I saw him say that same thing too. Like somebody asked him about physics. He's like, "Well, I don't really know that for real. I'll go ask somebody else that I know the answer." Because why? Because like I said, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to make sure you're giving out correct information. Like if people when they get a one up on you, they'll try to shame you to thinking, "Oh, you're stupid. You don't know." I'm not. This part I don't know. I'm saying I'm not ashamed for not knowing. I'll go. I just bring it up. I'll go ask somebody for the answer. That way, I have it for later. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? That's what smart people do. You don't just say whatever. And when you say whatever, you get tripped up. You get caught in the like you just say something else that contradicts what you just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the point, man. So once again, we gotta understand like these breakdowns are important. Any questions that y'all have, y'all can of course ask. Really, every subject that we talked about today, we can give you a full breakdown on. Once again, like we've been saying, this is kind of like a crash course. What I'm gonna do soon is I'm gonna give an in-depth breakdown of the of Genesis, the first chapter, and that's gonna take by itself, just one chapter is gonna take about 2 hours. You understand? General Muhammad's done it before in the class, but he, I want to kind of get the whole thing. That's how I gotta plug Priest Officer Thabawan. He's breaking down the whole book of Revelations, part by part, chapter by chapter. You can find that on that's practical knowledge. You find that on Hollywood Israelites on YouTube. That's the type of thing I kind of want to do with Genesis, the first chapter, because all of these things are extremely important to know. Knowing about where your family comes from, we talking about that today. But before that, how about knowing why we exist, how we came to exist, all of those things. It's all important. You have something else up?
That's I can say that's makes it. It's just hitting at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we in school, the ISUPK, right? Everything touched on is everything that's important for our people. I was saying this last night in my Hebrew class. I'm saying everything we teach is what's important for our people. I'm saying what's important to us in our history and our culture. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, these are things that should know. Like I said, this is a little bit more in meat, but still information that you should know. You know what I'm saying? Information that you should have. You know what I'm saying? That especially in the sense, there's nothing wrong going over it again, because it's always somebody new coming into the truth. So somebody new coming in will have to learn these things too. So you know what I'm saying? It's no problem going over things over again. You know what I'm saying? Bringing it back up. Maybe been talking to while somebody new in the class, whether it be in person or online. You know what I'm saying? It's good. It's good for the people. It's also good too to break you of the lies that you've been told your whole life. Like my father, my pops, when he's like, well, you think when I told him I'm in the truth, he's like, well, you think I'm teaching you lies the whole time? About the Bible, yeah. But you didn't know.
Right.
I said you didn't know. You're only been taught what you were taught. And everything from then forth. You know what I'm saying? From back then, you can only tell me what you know. If everything you've been told was a lie, you can only tell me a lie. That's all I got, sir.
No sweat. We're gonna close out. Give me 2 seconds, so I can.
Yeah, it's about, I want to close out. Anybody's got any questions?
All right, let's get it.
Umbrella,
He's had a long day. Get the brother some grace. Mind you,
like that.
Sorry, towards the east, Panyago Dam. All right, we're gonna begin with the prayers. You want to do the Hebrew? All right, we're gonna begin with the Lord's Prayer, beginning with the Hebrew. Abanawa,
Abanawa,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Shabbat Shemayim,
Kodash,
Kodash,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Shemka,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Malakwatka,
Malakwatka,
Tabaa,
Tabaa,
Ratazaka,
Ratazaka,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Barataza,
Barataza,
Kawa,
Kawa,
Hayah,
Hayah,
Hashemayim,
Hashemayim,
Thalanawa,
Thalanawa,
Lakam,
Lakam,
Call your one,
Call you one,
Wasalaknawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Kawatnawa,
Kawatnawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Wasalaknawa,
Kawatnawa,
Kawatnawa,
Wala'a,
Wala,
Tabayanawa,
Yanawa,
Wanasai one,
Milisai one,
Babal,
Ba,
Hawashai now,
Hawashai now,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Raikaya,
Raikaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Hamalakwa,
Hamalakwa,
Wa'ala,
Wa'ala,
Watha Para,
Wata Para,
Liwalemium,
Liwalemium,
Aman.
Aman. All right, with the Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come.
thy will be done
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this
Give
day
us this day
our daily
our
bread.
daily bread.
Forgive us our
And
debts
forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
It is not into temptation.
Lead us not to temptation,
Deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom
and the glory. That's like it. And the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it. We're going to read the account of the power, beginning with the Hebrew. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahushai,
Hashem Yahushai,
Baba Kwashai,
Baba Kashah,
Atanana Hakak,
Tana Hakat,
Hakat Larapa'ah,
Hakat Lapa'ah,
Call Maka'ala,
Call Makal,
Wakal Madawa,
Call Madawa,
Hakat Latahar,
Hakat Latahar,
Hamat Azariah,
Hamat Zariah,
Hakat Lakwayam,
Hakat Lakwayam,
Amathium,
Amathi,
Hakat Arakawa,
Hakat Arakarwa,
Hatama'ala,
Latama'al,
Lagar Shun,
Lagar Shun,
Ba'ashem Yahushai,
Hashem Yahushai,
Wadaman.
Wadaman. The power in English. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
the name Yahushai,
Name Yahushai,
please give us the power.
please give us the power
To heal all manner of sickness,
the power to heal all manner of sickness
and all manner of disease.
and all manner of disease,
The power to cleanse the lepers.
the power to cleanse the lepers,
The power to raise the dead.
the power to raise the dead,
The power against unclean spirits.
the power against unclean spirits,
To cast them out.
to cast them out.
In the name Yahushai,
In the name of Yahushai,
thank you, so be it.
thank you, so be it. Psalms 121st chapter in the Hebrew. Asha'ah,
Asha'ah,
Ayanya,
Ayanya,
Ahaharya,
Ahaharya,
Mayan,
Mayan,
Yaba'ah,
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah,
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 Ma'aim,
Ma'aim,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Shamayam,
Shamayam,
Waratazah,
Barakazah,
Al-Yathan,
Ayathan,
Lamawat,
Namawat,
Ragalka,
Ragalka,
Al-Yanawam,
Ayanawam,
Shamarka,
Shamarka,
Hana,
Adna,
La'a,
La'ah,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Wala'a,
Wala'ah,
Yayashan,
Yayashan,
Shamar,
Shamar,
Yashala,
Yashral,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamarka,
Shamarka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Tazalka,
Tazalka,
Al-Yad,
Ayat,
Yamyanka,
Yamyaka,
Yawamam,
Yawamam,
Hashamar,
Hashemas,
La'a,
La'ah,
Yakaka,
Yakaka,
Wayarak,
Wayarak,
Walayala,
Wayala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamarka,
Yashamarka,
Makal Rai,
Makal Rai,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Athnapashka,
Athnapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Taza'atka,
Taza'atka,
Waba,
Waba,
Waka,
Waka,
Ma'aitha,
Ma'aitha,
Ma'ai,
Ba'ai, I will love. All right, Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help coming from Yahweh,
My help cometh from
who
Yahweh,
made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
Do not suffer thy foot to be moved.
You will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not
He
slumber.
that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yasharallah,
he that keepeth Yasharallah
so that slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
This time forth,
This time forth,
even forevermore.
and even forevermore. We're going to read Psalms the 83rd chapter in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Adam Yalaka,
Adam Malakah,
Al Thakarash,
Al Thakarash,
Wa Al
Al
Tashakwat,
Tashakwat,
Al
Al
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awa Yabyaka,
Awa Yabyaka,
Yahamaya 1,
Yahmaya 1,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Alamaka,
Al Amaka,
Yarayum,
Yahweh Yam,
it's like a Yarayumwa,
Yahweh Yamwa,
Sawadah,
Sawadah,
Wayatha,
Wayatha,
Yaitazaw,
Yaitazaw,
Al Tazapawinyaka,
Al Tatapawinyaka,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Lakawa,
Lakawa,
Wanakakidam,
Wanakakidam,
Magauya,
Magauya,
Wala'ah,
Wala'ah,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Awadah,
Awadah,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawa Aitazaw,
Aitazaw,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa,
Auyaka,
Auyaka,
Baryat,
Baryat,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarathwa,
Ahawya,
Ahawya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashamayaliyam,
Washma'ali,
Mawa Abba,
Awa'aba,
Hagaryam,
Wagari,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Waima 1,
Waima 1,
Waima Lak,
Waimalak,
Kalashah,
Kalashah,
I'm Yashabya,
Ayashabya,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gamashawar,
Gamashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Zawai,
Zawai,
Labanya Lawat,
Labanya Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalaham,
Ashalaham,
Kamadyan,
Kamadyan,
Kasaya,
Kasaya, Ya,
Sara'ah,
Sara'ah,
Kayabya,
Kayabya,
Manakal,
Manakal,
Kwayashwan,
Kayashwan,
Nasamagwa,
Nasamagwa,
Bayan,
Bayan,
Dara,
Dara,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Daman,
Daman,
La'adama,
La'adama,
Sayathamwa,
Sayathamwa,
Nada,
Nada,
Yamawa,
Yamawa,
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira,
Kazaba,
Kazaba,
Kazabak,
Kazabak,
Katazal,
Katazal,
Mana'ai,
Mana'ai,
Call,
Call,
Sayakamwa,
Sayakamba,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amaru,
Nairashah,
Nairashah,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Nawat,
Nawa,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Sayathamwa,
Sayathamwa,
Kagogala,
Kagogala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya Raka,
Banya Rakah,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Tabaira,
Tabaira,
Ya'ira,
Yaira,
Wakalahaba,
Kalahaba,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Haryam,
Maryam,
Khan,
Khan,
Tharadapma,
Tharadapma,
Basa Iraka,
Iraka,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapatka,
Wapatka,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'ah,
Mala'ah,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Palawan,
Palawan,
Webakwashwa,
Webakashwa,
Shamka,
Shunka,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Webahawa,
Webaharu,
Ayai,
Ajai,
Wekaparwa,
Wekaparu,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kayata,
Kayata,
Shamka,
Shunka,
Yahawa,
Yahawah,
Labadka,
Labadka,
Ayawan,
Ayawan,
Al-Kal,
Al-Kal,
Al-Ratazah.
Al-Ratazah. Psalms 18 English. Psalms 18 in English. Keep not thy silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace,
And be not still, O God.
and be not still, O God.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult.
thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee
They that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They take crafty counsel against thy
They
people.
have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
Consulted against thy hidden ones.
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have
They
said,
have said,
Come,
Come,
let's cut them off from being a nation.
let us cut them off from being a nation.
The name of Yasharallah,
The name of Yahshua,
there be no more remembrance.
maybe no more remembrance.
For they consulted together with one consent.
But they have consulted together with one consent.
They confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and Hagarim,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and
and
Ammon,
Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the
the
Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
So also joined with them.
So also is drawn with them.
They hope in the children of Lot.
They have opened the children of Lot.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites.
as to Sisera,
As to Sisera.
as to Jabin,
As to Jabin.
the book of Kasan,
The book of Kasam.
which perished and endured.
Which perished that endured.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as done for the earth.
But the numbers like a red,
Make their nobles like a red.
and like Zeeb,
And like Zeeb.
yea,
Yea.
or the princes of Sabbath,
All their princes as above.
and as Zamunah,
And as Zalmunna,
who said,
who said,
let's take to ourselves
let's take to
the
ourselves
houses of God
the houses of God
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my God.
make them like a wheel,
Make them like a wheel.
at the stubble before the
As
winds,
the stubble before the wind.
at the fire burneth the
As
wood,
the fire burneth the wood.
at the flames set the mountains on fire.
And as the flames set the mountains on fire.
To persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy tempest.
make them afraid with thy storm.
And make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame.
They may seek thy name,
They may see thy name.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea,
Yea.
let them be put to shame and perish.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
They may know that thou,
And men may know that thou,
whose name alone,
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
at the most high of all the earth.
art the most high of all the earth. We're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Rakatayah,
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Yahweh Shai,
Wa Ma'aka'ala.
Mike Allah,
Wa Lahayim.
Walahai,
Atazav Ya'ah.
Zavia,
Alawab Yahana.
Alabap Yahana,
Alawapim.
Alabap,
Asaranya.
Asaranya,
Kwatazayanya.
Bakzayah,
Akaya Yoyo.
Akaya,
Wa Hagwathim.
Bagwathi,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Bashim Hawashah,
Wa Ramon.
Wadaman. The blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh.
and Yahweh Shai,
And Yahweh Shai.
and Michael,
And Michael.
and the angels,
And the angels.
and many John Yohana,
Many General Yahana.
the generals,
The generals.
the captains,
Captains.
the officers,
The officers.
the troopers,
Troopers.
and the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
name Yahweh Shai.
Name Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it. So while you're shopping, be seated. Any brother that would like to come up to get anointed, you can come up. Sister, would you like to be anointed with oil? All right, you're gonna read this prayer. You know the drill, sis. All right. Yabaraka Yahweh.
Yabaraka Yahweh.
Washamarka.
Washamarka.
Yar Yahweh.
Yar Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Alyaka.
Alyaka.
Wakanka.
Wakanka.
Yasha'al Yahweh.
Yasha'al Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Pan Yahweh.
Alyaka.
Alyaka.
Washamlaka.
Washamlaka.
Salam.
Salam.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Washam.
Washem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magan.
Magan.
Hagan.
Hagan.
Rayana.
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 Washem Yahushai.
Washem Yahushai.
The water aman.
The water aman.
For the system. All right, what we just said was Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless, heal, shield, and protect the sister right now. With that, we're going to go ahead and close out. Get them up real quick. Kabbalah, you get them up real quick. We're going to salute out the Sabbath service. All right, so men of Israel, I imagine, which means to stand. Men of Israel, I imagine Shabbat. I imagine Barak. Yahweh, shout towards the sister. Sister Imagine, which means to stand. We're going to get a sister courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat. Imagine Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Latham by Shemi Yahushai.
Yahweh Shemar Latham Bahasham Yahweh Shai.
Yadi Matah, dismiss.